Alright, it's been a while since I've done a video, but I just want to say hi. Today, we're going to be making a mod for Rimworld. Earlier this fall, I figured I wanted to try modding, and long story short, it took a lot of digging to find resources. Some of the best tutorials I've seen are years old at this point, and for a couple editions ago, but with a lot of tinkering and mucking around, I actually figured it out and got a work mod. So today, we're going to make a basic weapon. Nothing fancy. We're not going to worry about custom sounds. I'll do another video for those because they've got some kind of weirdness to them. But we're just going to make a basic weapon using vanilla sounds. So we're going to go in like this is dry, and we're going to do it in real time so you guys can see exactly the process that needs to be taken. So first thing you're going to do is you need to get to the files for Rimworld. So you're going to go to Steam, and you're going to go into your library, Rimworld, and now you're going to head over here into Settings, Manage, and you're going to hit Browse Local Files. This will bring up all of the files for the game. Now, there's two files in particular that you're going to need. The first one here is going to be mods. This is where you're going to put your mod. So we're going to go and start off real simple. New file. Modded gun example. Simple, easy. This is just a thing that it's going to look. This file here is going in the mods folder will automatically read there. So now, next thing we're going to do. Now, there's a lot of different ones here. I got XML Copy Editor. It's a free little application, but you're going to need this because it is going to be rather essential for a lot of your work coming up here. So we're going to go back. Now we're going to go to data to actually get the base programming for this. So I've also looked up a few tutorials online. There's a lot of free resources for XML programming. So we're going to go to core. So this is the most basic one. Now this folder here is the one that's really, really important. It's called defs. And defs are the core information about everything in the game. So anything you want to make in the game is going to be a def, and you're going to make your own def. But for the time being, to make a weapon, we're going to go and start by kind of copying the existing one because it works, pure and simple. So now, let's see. We want thing defs misc, this little guy right here. And then there's a folder up here, weapons. And we're going to go into, we want to make a gun, so we're going to go to range industrial. And I'm going to open a notepad. I find Microsoft Edge works pretty good. So now, as you can see here, defs industrial. And then we got, let's see, for the revolver, we want to do something a little different. So we're going to go with the auto pistol. So we're going to start here, thing def parent name. And as we go in, you're going to scroll down, 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 down. And now we're going to include thing def parent name base bullet. And then right there. Now we're going to copy this. Now we can close this guy right now. And now we're going to go into our XML copy editor. And we're going to start us a new one. New XML document. Now we're going to hit Control V. It's in there. Now there's one thing that needs to be on here that won't be in if you do it this way. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to go enter, and we're going to do bracket def bracket. And now this one's kind of cool because it brings up the other side, brings up two of these. So you're going to cut this one out. So this is the start of the code that's going to be reading. And you go all the way down, very bottom, and then you're going to make a new line and defs. So this is now being read as a custom file. So this is now a basic thing there. So you got your description. Don't worry about that right now. You can do that whenever. But we're going to need to change the name. So we want to keep, I found this out the hard way. So keep the beginning bit there where it says gun. Keep that. You're going to copy their formatting as much as you can, so then the system will read it. And the name is going to be Sample Gun. Or actually, no, sorry. Sample 1. I found that putting the word gun separated there tends to be kind of tricky. And now, this is the label. This one's important to have too, because this one here, if you forget this one, it'll actually sometimes replace the existing gun in the game with it, and so now you have two of them working, and it just kind of, it's not good. It just kind of messes the system. So, sample gun. Let's see, just double check here. We'll do sample gun. I just want to be careful here, just because sometimes if you make a mistake, it will let you know. Now, we're not going to worry about this right now. Now, next thing you're going to see is the text path. Now, text path is the image. Now, there's a bunch of different stuff you can do on there. There's the guy does the vanilla mods expanded. This guy is brilliant. He does a whole bunch of tutorials on there. I'm a little more on the simpler side of things. So we're going to go, and we're going to go to Paint. And we're going to make an image to represent this gun. And this is going to be the pinnacle of high tech. There we go. I like to do it so this is as a style background, so it's a clear background. And we're going to go and do a star, and we're going to make it green. This is just a placeholder example. You can do this with any image. And we're going to call it sample 1. Save. All right, that's saved. Let's see, actually, I'm going to keep that for now. And we want sample 1, because I need to keep, really important there. Don't get distracted like I do and muck up your thing. Because you mess up the pathing and such, it will kind of it'll mess you up. Now this one here, as we know, sample 1, sample _1, all lowercase. The lowercase, uppercase things with these is very important, because if you have too many things that match each other, it will start jamming up the system. So we used a capital here on this one here, so we're going to do this all lowercase. All right, and our graphic single. This is now the sound interact. We're not going to wear this today. This is the base sound for when you pick it up. Research prerequisites, blowback operation, crafting skill 4. So you can change all of these little numbers in here. This will different skills, etc., etc., etc. You can tweak a lot of this. We're not going to worry about this right now. But like I said, if you want to increase the accuracy, let's say you want to make it like a super accurate beast machine. So 1 is it will never miss, and then lower than that is basically the hit percentage. So let's turn it up to 50 just for playing around, and for long range, do 50. And this is the materials it takes to make it. This is how long it takes for, like, basically you just start when the character starts. They start picking up a target. Let's do the range as 50. Just we're throwing in numbers right now. Now this is the sound that it uses for when it fires, and then this is the sound it uses for immediately after fires. This is muzzle flash scale. I haven't noticed too many differences. I don't think my settings are high enough right now to really appreciate it. And then we're going to come down to these. Now these are your melee attacks. So this is your shooting attack. And it labels out what kind of bullet it is. Actually, we have to change. Double check here. We have to change the bullet too. So we're going to do bullet sample 1. This is now, as we go down, I'll show you this one later, but if you use default projectile, you have listed as like the standard pistol one, like for example, let's say you went back, just kept an auto pistol. Fair, right? So basically, it's going to go and it's going to take the auto pistol round. We don't actually need if we do that, we don't need this whole little guy, the whole thing for base bullet. But if you want to do custom ammunition with custom gunshot sounds, then you're going to want to go and do bull 1. Now we're going to go down here. So when you hit someone with the grip, this is all the information that there's going to be based on there. So how much power is how much damage you're doing. Cooldown time, how fast it is between hits. We're going to leave these as is for now. I think later here I'll do one for art, and I'll show you some tweaks that we can do to these, because you can actually do a lot of really cool stuff with these, including things like making bayonet effects, stuff like that. You can actually add like stabbing or slashing damage to it to do bayonet equivalent. It's pretty cool, but we're not going to worry about that right now. One disaster at a time. Now, this is similar to before. This is for the actual bullet the gun fires. So, and the label is going to be, let's see here, sample 1 bullet. All right, now you can actually change the projectile on this. I'll show you what that kind of can look like with another gun I've done earlier. And this is now your damage to the bullet does, how fast the projectile moves, what kind of damage it is, and there's other stuff you can do like beams and other things like that. But again, you're going to be short term. You're going to be going and copying the existing one for the first try. Right now, the goal is make it work. It's not anything fancy. We're not going to go and, we want to make a mod that shows up and works as advertised. Plain and simple. So, that's all looking good. We've changed everything we're going to change. Now we're going to save this. Now this is something that I've made mistakes on before. So I'm going to save so make sure when you do this, change it to XML. If you do not change it to XML, it will do all sorts of weird things and just completely muck everything up and you'll have to just basically change the file again. If you do accidentally save as that, you can save it as, and now we want the document. So we want you to be in, right now, we want you to be in the desktop, so we're easy to find. And you are sample 1. And actually, you're going to be lowercase because that's how I did on that one. So very important there. You have these kind of things, these need to match. If they don't match, it's going to cause all sorts of confusion in the system, and it's going to be a problem. So I'm going to close you now. And here it is, sample 1. All right, so now we're going to go back here. We're going to go all the way back. Now we're going to go to About, and we're going to take this file. I like the Microsoft Edge one because it works really, really well. So this is all your important stuff here. Let's check here. Let's see. We want to go to, let's do biotech, just an example. We go to About. So there we go. So this now is going to be what reads it as a mod. So the DLCs in this game are actually treated as mods. So a lot of this is going to be good. So we're going to copy, we're going to delete. And in a little bit here, you're going to see how all these come together to make something cool. We get rid of you. We make a new one of you. Let's see, we want a new one. New XML document. Here's sample 1. Now, mod metadata. So the package ID is going to be username. So in this case, let me just check the format again. All right, so these ones are using spaces. Good. Always check that that's the kind of thing you always want to double check if you're not sure. So it's going to be space sample 1 test. You can call it whatever you want there. Now your author. So this is one where if you publish your stuff, you really need to make sure you change this because this could lead to some legal stuff and be all sorts of awkward. Let's see, this is Steam app ID. I'm not doing this to Steam right now, so we're just gonna get rid of that. Right now we're not worrying about that. We're worrying about getting this to work. And now supported versions, 1.6, that's the current version. Now we're not gonna force load it anywhere. So these can all go. If you're doing other mods that it relies on, then you're gonna go and then these are important. But right now we're just doing a standalone mod. It's not connected to any other mods. I'm still figuring that part out a little bit. But this is, again, we're gonna get this to work. And we're just gonna go and delete and delete. And now we're gonna go and save you to the desktop, and we're gonna call you sample one test. And we're gonna save it as XML file. Very important to do that. I have made that mistake more times than I care to admit. All right, so we're gonna save. Now this is where it gets interesting. There's our sample one, and there's our sample one test. So now we are gonna go back to Rimworld, and we'll go back into mods. Now, modded gun example. So actually, I'm going to change the name of this because I already forgot my own formatting because I'm a genius. So again, these need to match. So now this is going to go in here. Hang on a sec. Right here. So now we're going to open up sample one test. Now we're going to add a new folder. This is going to be called About. So now the sample one test we did there, that's our About. So that goes in here. Now we're going to do another folder. We're going to call it Defs. And now this is where this one's going to go in. Pretty simple. Now we want to do some graphics though, don't we? We want to do that custom graphic we did. Took me so much time to make. Let's see here. So now we're going to need our text. This is called text path. This is the files it takes to the sample one file. So now we're going to go back. We're going to go here. We're in a new folder. Now the first one we need to do with this is things, and then item, equipment, range. Yeah. So let's start off though simple. Rename things. I believe it's capital T. Let's double check that. Again, lots of this is just going back and double checking, double checking. It's very, yeah, so things. Right, now we're going to go into things. We're going to make a new folder, and we're going to call it items. Now we're going into items. The next one on the list is going to be equipment. Now we go into equipment. So bear in mind that once you get this set up though, you can do anything involving that mod can follow these formats. And so this is the long tedious part of it. But now we go to weapon ranged. Hang on a sec. I want you. My professionalism is outstanding, I know. Let's see, so new folder, weapon ranged. And now, I saved it this one because I'm a genius, but we are going to go and put it to here. And let me just, now we're going to go back, things, sample one test, defs. Let's just check this again. As you can see, I am very professional at this. I don't make mistakes ever, but yeah, it's weapon range. Yep, so that all matches. So we're all good there. So now we should be able to close this. And if I did it right, when we fire up, Rimworld, we should be able to find this. You're also going to want to go into dev mode in here. When you do when you are doing these, you can technically just go, build the crafting bench and do it the old-fashioned way, but this is a lot faster. And right now, the goal isn't pretty. The goal is get it to work, making it good. So we're going to go to dev quick test. When you do have dev mode engaged, you can do this. That's an option you have, and it's just super quickly sets up a basic map with some random colonists or pawns, and you can just go and test. All right. So up here we got the node, and so now we're going to want to go to debug actions. And we're going to go and let's see here, go down to spawning. And we're going to go down to spawn weapon. Now gun. And this is done alphabetically. I'm also a very genius. Before you do that, I got excited. And we're going to go to mods, sample and test. No description provided. Again, very brilliant on my part. Alright, so as you can see, I've made a whole something here is not happy with me, so we're going to go back. And now let's go and open you back up. And we're going to go, this is one of my other mods here. Oh, hang on. And somewhere in here. Hang on a sec. I go away for a little bit and change all my settings on myself. Fortunately, if you ever get lost, you can always go back to browse local files and pop it right up. So mods. I'm going to check my other mod I'm working on. I haven't published it yet. Let's see how we did about. So the first file actually has to be called about. So that is good to know. My computer. All right, so that's all it needs right there. So I need to go back. So I'm going to about and rename about. Let me double check this. There we go. Now let's go back here. F1. All right, let's try this. So now before, it wasn't able to read it as being existing because I have the about file named wrong. So this is why this is all very important to double check all this, because if you do one thing like a title there, you will get just an error message of some sort. And it will not be happy with you. Okay, so now, mods. And let's see now. Sample one test, enable. So you see I had no error messages or anything pop up. Now save and apply changes. Let the game restart. So actually it's kind of good that you guys got to see what happens when you do something wrong. And what you have to do is you have to go back and you double check everything. I kind of cheat a little bit there at existing mod, but let's see. Let's just try something real quick here. Sometimes you can get it past the errors. But I have a sneaking suspicion I might have done something wrong somewhere in my infinite wisdom. But we're gonna go through this. We're gonna figure it out. And again, this is long and annoying and all that, but at the same time, sometimes you need sometimes you don't need fancy. You just need long and annoying. Long weapon. Sample one. So yeah, it doesn't recognize the graphic I did there. I did something wrong with the graphics. So it is fire, even though the graphic doesn't work. So now we're gonna go and we're gonna figure out what's going on with the graphic here. So let's see. Now we're gonna go back. Go to things, items, equipment, arranged, and sample one. Okay, yeah, save it as a PNG file. Always need it as PNG files. Now let's just resize it. Pixels 256 by 256. Good. All right, that's resized. Save. So let's see what we got here. So actually what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up my other mods and just take a look at it. So I have these available and now you guys can see this too. So this will give you an idea. Also, if you're doing sounds, it'll be in this file as well. But let's go for the harpoon launcher. That one's fun. I'm going to show you guys that one there because then you can see what if you do a custom image for your weaponry looks, or for your projectiles look like. Thing def. Name. Ah, here we go. Here's my problem. So, okay. Now we need to do the name chunk of it. This is something that is easy to forget, easy to overlook, but as you can see, kind of gums up the whole works. So I'm going to go, boom, name gun, sample, one. Now save. Now I bet you, the error at line 3, column 44. Now let's take a look here. Hang on a sec. Gun. Oh yeah, well formed. Good. Invalid token. So let me just check here. Now this is where I went wrong. So where it says defs here, get rid of that. Because I forget this. So now it says thing def and then it goes down def name and defs. Thing def and defs. There we go. And the defs part is up here. Yep. Sometimes go back. Line 3 call. Expected. What is going on with you? Hang on a sec here. This is a different one. Yeah, let's see. Invalid token. Let me just double check here. Ah, this is the pinnacle of my brilliance right here. So they want to have a space. This is why when you're copying stuff, you want to be really careful because betcha that will fix it right there. But yeah, one misplaced punctuation, one capitalization in a weird place that doesn't expect, one space or lack of space, and the whole thing just does not want to read. Let's see. Let's see what it says here. A valid format. Let's just see if it runs. So it's been a little while since I've done one of these, but once you get the basic format down too, then you can copy that format for all your other projects. So okay, so it does load. It doesn't like the image for whatever reason though. So let's see if we can figure this out. So this is the part that takes the longest, by like quite a huge margin. This, by the way, this XML copier is pretty cool because it keeps everything up. Let's see, defs, thing def, gun sample one. Gonna copy you. Let's just check some things here. So it says gun harpoon launcher in defs. Alright, cool. So now we're gonna go back to mods, defs, and there's our problem. The one word, gun. Now, I betcha it's going to be a lot more receptive now. Let's see. Yep, so it doesn't like my formatting there. Let's take another look here. I know, very exciting. And there's my problem. I bet you that little slash is all it took. And actually, what we're going to do before we do anything permanent there, before we save it, we're going to go into the one I've already done, that I figured out with lots of blood, sweat, and tears. And so what it is actually between those, it needs to be a period and no spaces. So now, no space, and period. Now we save and close. So again, when you're doing these there, a lot of the basic formatting. Again, small mistakes will make it a huge difference. It's thinking. As you notice, though, no error messages popped up this time. Of course, it also looks like, for whatever reason, it didn't load either. Because we changed the name. Because we changed the name, now it read as a new mod, so it wasn't enabled. So now here's the moment of truth. Okay, so I need to look this up later in a second here, but let's just see if it works. So now the only error we have, we'll figure that out here in a second. But first, let's just see if we can get it to do its thing. Because that is the important part there. Right now, it's just about, especially if you're doing it. I haven't done this for a while, so this is where I'm running into problems. But now it should pop up in here. All right, perfect. So the image is having problems. Oh, and it's firing. So now we're going to go back and we're going to try some more test. And there's where I made the problem. You see now, one test. This is where I went real brilliant. So now you're seeing someone here literally bumbling through with no real plan, per se, making a whole bunch of different mistakes. But because I'm making these mistakes, you guys actually get to see kind of a lot of troubleshooting, a lot of things that go wrong. So now we're going to try this again. So you're seeing where things can go wrong and how to fix them, which for me was a huge problem for me because I would have these errors and I was basically trying to figure it out from scratch, trying to code it. Let's see, why don't you like it now? Use item equipment. I know what I did wrong. Now we're going to go back to defs. We're going to go gun sample 1. Now we're going to scoot down to text path. Textures. Slash. Save. And now I'm going to know them for sounds because sounds seem like they're formatted like this, but they're actually formatted differently. And it was literally on the Ludson forums, like the publisher's forums. There was a 6-year-old article. Wait a second. Now, there's one last thing it could be. And this is probably going to be silly. So we're going to copy you. We're going to go back. We're going to go to textures. things, items, equipment, arranged, rename. Let's see, sample one. Let me just check one other thing. So again, this is a lot of this is going through. If you have errors, a lot of this is just going through methodically, and you dig out what's going on. So let's just try copy. What is going on with you? So let's see, it's saying here now, it can't load the texture, because it can't find the actual thing in there. So it's looking through there, and it just, for whatever reason, it cannot find the image. So let's just take a step back, and let's just go simple. We're going to take a step back, and we're going to look at what I've already worked on. Things, item, equipment, weapons ranged, name. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, yeah, and let's see. We're following our pre-launcher. There it is right there. It's a PNG file. And it's a PNG file. Did I? Hang on a sec. Again, like I said before, one letter or number or space can go up the whole works. So always make sure you copy all your formatting exactly the same. You follow the pattern. And if something's not working, you don't want to get frustrated. If you need to take a step back and take a deep breath and why are you not popping up now? So this is one of those things that can happen there. I guess kind of a little frustrating, especially the first couple times if you're trying out from scratch, is getting everything to work properly. And I got very reliant, obviously, on my previously done mods. So I'm going to say, though, we had no air meshes pop up this time, so that might have been all it took. It's just changing the name like that. Maybe sample 1 is too generic for the system. Let's find out. And there we go. We got gun sample 1. And now you can see the range because we extended it so far. And there we go. So that is working. Now let's check out some other stuff that I've made over there. So now you can do a lot of this now by basically following that same pattern. And so if you're doing a custom projectile, where are you? A food launcher. So this one here took me a while to figure out. This one here actually uses a custom projectile. And I did custom sounds. So as you can see, the projectile is a little harpoon. So you can go and you can by following this formula. So let's go back. By following the formula, though, you can go and basically make everything work. So let's go through it again. Let's go through it all just as simple. First of all, you have this folder here. You're gonna have your mod folder has your mod name on it. However you feel like writing it, it's gonna have that name on it. Now you're gonna go to About. Your About folder, you're gonna have mod metadata. You're gonna have publisher. You want to have spaces in here. So each space in the package ID is just that, a space. So if you do all clumped as one thing and all that, it'll confuse the crap out of it. It needs to have your author name and needs to have what the actual mod is. What the mod is doesn't need spaces, but there's no spaces between each definition, so each space is treated as a new line of data in this. So if I remove this space, now it can't read it. It's all going to read it just as one big long line of data. That space says publisher. It's going to read it as publisher or author, and then what it is. Pretty simple, pretty no nonsense. Now, with that done, you can also put images in here for the mod and stuff like that. We're not going to worry about that right now. Again, this is just about getting it to work. Now we're going to do our defs. This defs folders are important. And again, we got our gun in there. Make sure at the top it says defs. This up here is perfect. It needs to say XML version equals 1.0 encoding UTF-8. This is just saying what kind of code it is. Do not change this. If you change this, it will mess up the whole source. This is what the base game uses. This is what we want to use. And now keep this parent name base make blend. So this tells the program this is a gun that can be made by pawns in game. Now our name is custom gun sample 1. The definition name is important too. Having that gun in the beginning there makes a huge difference. For the longest time I was having all sorts of problems, and it turned out that one word gun was all the issue was. Label, that's how it's going to be showing up in menus and stuff. Description, you can put in whatever you feel like telling about the gun. Just write normally, it's nothing fancy. Now text path. Things, item, equipment, weapon ranged, and then the name of the file, in this case weapon sample 1. As you saw what happens earlier when you get things like this mixed up a little bit, it goes sideways. So now, graphic class, you want to keep that alone, that's good. This is how the UI icon is scaled. So if you're doing a small pistol, you might want the icon there in the little menu when you select your pawn who was equipped with it to be bigger, so that adjusts that. Sound and direct, So this is where you go and you have the sound for what it picks up. My harpoon gun, it had that nice little sink sound of the harpoon being slid in place. Research prerequisites. This is what needs to be researched before you can actually build it. Your crafting skill. Display priority. It shows where it shows up basically in game like in-game menus. Not a huge deal. Some people do it one. There's all different ways of doing it. It's largely for your own organization. Weapon tags. Simple gun. Yeah. Auto pistol. So this here is basically helps the program basically narrow down what exactly they're looking at. You don't want to necessarily mess with these too much. Weapon classes, range light. Again, don't want to mess with that too much. Work to make, so that's basically how much work it takes to make it. Your accuracy files there. Your equipment costs. Steel components. We haven't changed it from the base auto pistol. Now the LI, this is where it starts getting into interesting things. So now it's going to have verb class, verb shoot. Has center command true. Yep. That's the system saying, yes, when this button is pressed, it will shoot. And now this is your projectile that the gun uses by default. In this case, bullet sample 1. How long it takes to warm up for that shot, the range of the shot is, what the sound it is, and what the sound is after it shoots. Muzzle flash. Again, I haven't noticed too many differences with it. You can tinker around and find out. Now, close down, and now you go back into tools, lie, label, grip, and now it lists out everything that it does there. So if you want to do a bayonet or something like that, you would add down another label, and then copy off one of probably a spear, to be honest, and copy that in there. And then this is not this thing there. Thing def name, base bullet. That tells the system here, this is a bullet. Now def name bullet sample 1. So now it's going to go and say, hey, this thing you have here that is firing, this is its information. So you can change the label, of course. You have your text path. So this here, you're going to go to things, you're going to make a new one called projectile, which I'm going to show you right now. Now you're going to go into textures, things, and now projectile. And there you go. It's literally, there's the harpoon guns one. And you do them the direction of travel facing up. And simple and easy. Always make sure it's a PNG file. Also, always make sure your file when you're using images is square. Because if it is not square, the game will make it square, and that will do all sorts of weird stuff to its whole setup. But anyway, that's the very basics of me rambling along. You guys got to see what happens when you make a mistake, what mistakes can look like. I have a wonderful memory and all that. I totally don't have any ADHD or any other problems going on. But so you've now seen what you do, how things should look, what to copy, and what mistakes look like, and how to troubleshoot them. And your first one, there's going to be a lot of going back and forth. You're going to make mistakes. If you make a mistake, don't panic. Remember, as long as it's in these folders, you're good. We might potentially run into problems let's see now, you go back to Rimworld. Anything in here, if you change anything in here, this is where you start having problems, where you start messing up the actual core game files. So that's why you make sure everything that you're working on is saved to your to the mod folder, to the folder for the mod. Anything you make a mistake in here is not going to affect the core game. Or if it does, all you have to do is basically unenable the mod, and it'll be back to normal. So this separates everything, so you don't make any game-breaking errors. So yeah, I'm gonna call it quits here. I'll do another one here doing sounds. But now you guys have seen, I'll do sounds. We'll do an art thing at some point. But everything in here. But now you guys get to see the process, especially if you make a mistake. And you see how easy it is to make a mistake. A space, a period instead of a slash, a letter that's not capitalized or capitalized in the wrong place. those all muck with the system. So hopefully this helps out. Like I said before, one of the best videos I saw for this that's cleared up a lot of problems was about 5 years old, and one of the forums that helped me out with the sounds was at this point 6 years old. So that I had to dig pretty deep into the internet. I got very, very confused. Um, Hopefully this saves you guys some time. Anyhow, I'm going to talk to you all later, and you all have a great day. Be nice to each other. Be nice to everyone around you. Be nice to yourself. And peace.